It was humid that night, the kind of heat that sticks to your skin and makes everything feel heavier. North 16th Street in East Orange, New Jersey, was quiet until it wasn't. Gunshots exploded through the air. Neighbors dropped, screamed, prayed. Inside that house, Shalomar Brown, 44 years old, mother of 2, was fighting for her life. The man shooting? Her boyfriend. And he didn't stop until she couldn't fight anymore. By morning, she was gone. He was running, and 2 kids were left to pick up the pieces. Let me tell you how we got here. June 29th, 2025. A Sunday evening. The kind of night where folks are winding down, getting ready for the work week. But on North 16th Street, peace shattered in seconds. Gunfire. Not one shot, but a wave of them, tearing through the neighborhood like a storm nobody saw coming. People hit the floor. Parents screamed for their kids to get down. Some just froze because they knew exactly where those shots were coming from. Inside, that home was 44-year-old Shalomar Brown, a mother, a housing specialist, a woman who spent her entire career helping other people find safety. But tonight, there was none left for her. In the next room, her 2 children huddled together, listening as the man who once claimed to love their mother unleashed his rage. And outside, witnesses said it sounded like a war zone. Windows rattled, bullets ripped through walls. And when the smoke cleared, 29-year-old Darien Ficklin, her boyfriend, was gone. Shalomar had been shot multiple times. She was still breathing when first responders got there, but barely. They rushed her to University Hospital in Newark, where doctors fought to undo what jealousy and control had done. But she didn't make it through the night. The same woman who spent her life helping others find homes had been robbed of her own. As red and blue lights flooded the block, word started spreading. The woman inside was Shalomar, the same Shalomar who brought light wherever she went, a mother who fought to reclaim her peace and paid for it with her life. But how did it get to this? How did a relationship between a confident, mouthy 4-year-old mother and a 29-year-old man end in deadly obsession? Girl, stay with me. Because once you hear how this unraveled, you won't be able to look away. You are watching DeepCrime TV, where we break down real stories about domestic violence and relationship crimes that shook communities. We don't sugarcoat it, we don't sensationalize it, we just tell you what happened. If you're into true crime that hits close to home, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next case. Before tragedy ever knocked on the door of North 16th Street, there was a woman whose whole life had been built around creating stability for others. Shalomar Brown was born and raised in the Bronx, New York. Her family believed in hard work, humor, and staying connected, no matter how far life took you. From early on, she had this spark, one of those bright personalities that just pulled people in. Family members say she was the type to make everyone laugh at Sunday dinners, to show up for birthdays with a gift and a joke, and to check in on you long after the party was over. As she grew older, that same warmth guided her career. Shalomar became a housing specialist. She helped families who were just one missed paycheck away from homelessness. And she didn't just hand them paperwork. She listened, she advised, she encouraged. Co-workers said she had this rare ability to make strangers feel safe, to restore dignity to people who'd been broken down by life. Her sister, Shalomar Brown, later wrote, "She lit up every room she entered. Her joy was contagious, her laughter unforgettable." When Shalomar eventually moved from the Bronx to East Orange, New Jersey, it was supposed to be a new chapter. The neighborhood felt quieter, a place where her 2 children could grow up without the constant noise of the city. She balanced motherhood and community service the way she did everything, with humor, faith, and fierce determination. Her children were her world, her reason for every long shift and late-night commute. To them, she wasn't just mom. She was their anchor, their home. Friends described her as a woman who carried both grace and grit. She'd been through struggles, sure, but she refused to let them define her. Samira would later write, "Her absence leaves a void even laughter cannot fill." And that's real. Shalomar wasn't just a name in the news. She was someone who could turn ordinary moments into something special. But even women who bring others home safe can lose their own sense of safety. It was sometime after settling in East Orange that she met Darien Ficklin, a man nearly 15 years younger than she was. At first, his youth seemed refreshing. He was fun, attentive, full of energy. And for a woman who'd spent years holding everything together on her own, that kind of attention can feel like a breath of fresh air. He called her beautiful, told her he admired her independence, said he'd never met anyone like her, but admiration turned to control faster than anyone expected. The age gap wasn't the problem. It was the power gap. Darien grew possessive. He questioned her phone calls, her clothes, her hours. He didn't like that she had a career she loved, that other people respected her. He wanted her all to himself. And when he couldn't have that, the resentment started to fester. Neighbors would later recall heated arguments echoing through the walls. What started as affection slowly turned into surveillance. Him showing up unannounced, checking her phone, accusing her of things that didn't exist. He mistook her independence for rejection. And listen, age wasn't their problem. Entitlement was. To understand what came next, you have to know who Darien Ficklin really was. He was from Orange, New Jersey, a product of the same streets, but a very different upbringing. He'd attended East Orange Campus High School, leaving around 2013, and after that, his life seemed to drift. Jobs came and went. So did stability. On social media, he posted sporadically. Flashes of frustration, attempts at bravado, hints of someone trying to prove something to the world. But beneath the image was insecurity. He was the kind of man who couldn't stand being left. Possessive, impulsive, prideful. Friends said he wanted control, not partnership, and when he felt it slipping, his temper flared. He started monitoring her more closely, showing up where he wasn't invited. What began as a relationship became surveillance, and what she once thought was love began to feel like a cage. By early summer 2025, Shalomar Brown had made her decision. She wanted out. She told her sister. She told close friends. She couldn't live like that anymore. The laughter that once filled her home had turned to tension and fear. She wanted peace for herself, for her children. Her sister's GoFundMe later put it in heartbreaking clarity. He couldn't face rejection. He tried to change the reality of Shalomar choosing happiness. Wow, let that sit for a second. In the days leading up to June 29th, his messages turned threatening. He stalked her movements, called repeatedly, tried to force conversations she didn't want to have. To her, this was the end of a toxic chapter. To him, it was humiliation. And the days leading up to that night had been heavy with tension. Shalomar's family sensed it. The fear in her voice, the way she triple-checked the locks, how she spoke more softly around the children. She had already made her choice to walk away. But that was exactly what made her most vulnerable. Because in relationships like this, the moment of leaving is often the most dangerous one of all. That Sunday evening, on North 16th Street in East Orange, neighbors would later recall hearing shouting that quickly turned into screams. Within moments, the sound of gunfire shattered the night air. Darien Ficklin, armed with a handgun, stormed into the home where Shalomar and her 2 children lived. They were inside, those innocent children, forced to watch as the man who once held their mother's hand turned his anger into bullets. He fired multiple times, making sure she wouldn't survive. And like death wasn't enough, he stepped outside and continued shooting. Wild, aimless shots that ripped through the air, threatening anyone who dared to come close. Her sister Samira would later write, "He shot like a maniac, trying to change the reality of Shalomar choosing to end a toxic relationship." By the time police arrived, the neighborhood was chaos. Residents hiding behind curtains, children crying, and first responders rushing into what felt like a war zone. They found 44-year-old Shalomar Brown gravely wounded. Paramedics rushed her to University Hospital in Newark, where doctors tried to fight the damage left by the bullets that tore through her body. But despite their efforts, she didn't survive the night. The same woman who had spent her career helping others find homes had been robbed of her own. When word reached her family, disbelief turned into devastation. Her children were safe, but traumatized. The home that once echoed with laughter was now a crime scene marked with shell casings and broken glass. Shalomar's sister would later say her apartment was torn up by rage, hate, and bullets. So now, as police pieced together what had happened, they quickly realized the suspect was gone. Darien Ficklin, 29, had fled the scene before officers even arrived. What followed was a multi-state manhunt that stretched across the Delaware border. He was driving fast, desperate, unhinged. For hours, he evaded capture, leading authorities on an intense chase that crossed into Delaware and back toward Camden County, New Jersey. State and federal agencies joined forces, coordinating the pursuit from the air and the ground. Patrol units boxed him in until finally, near dawn, it ended. He was captured on June 30th, 2025, less than 24 hours after the shooting. But before his capture, Darien left behind a digital footprint, a haunting sign of his collapsing psyche. In what would be his final Facebook post, written just before he was caught, he typed out, "Everybody just wanted to abuse me in life, physically and mentally. I cannot take this shit no more. Don't cry for me. Girl." It was the cry of a man drowning in self-pity, trying to recast himself as the victim, while 2 children cried for the mother he had just taken from them. Even as he ran, he couldn't outrun the truth. A mother was gone, a family shattered, and a community grieving. His attempt to flee only cemented his guilt. Each mile, another reminder of the cowardice that followed his cruelty. The morning after the Reston murder, the once lively home on North 16th Street stood silent, its windows shattered, walls scarred by bullets, and the air heavy with disbelief. It wasn't just a crime scene. It was the wreckage of a family's entire world. Like her sister Samira wrote on GoFundMe, the apartment had been torn up by rage, hate, and bullets. Inside that house, laughter used to echo from every corner. Shalomar's children would run to greet her after work, proudly showing drawings or school papers. Now, those same children had to be escorted out under flashing lights, stepping over broken glass, and into a reality they would carry for the rest of their lives. When officers finally placed him in custody, the shockwaves rippled through East Orange. The community that had once known him as a quiet young man now saw his name attached to a murder charge. In the days that followed, he was arraigned on charges of first-degree murder and multiple weapons offenses. Prosecutors from the Essex County Prosecutor's Office took over the case, confirming that he would remain in custody as the investigation continued. No public plea, no visible remorse, just silence. Court records show little movement since then. Like many cases of intimate partner violence, the process crawls, while families are left to mourn in real time. One legal analyst once said, "Justice may crawl, but grief never pauses." And for Shalomar's loved ones, every court date, every motion, every reminder feels like reopening a wound that never really closes. With nowhere safe to return, the children were displaced, moving between relatives and temporary housing while family members tried to rebuild what had been destroyed. Shalomar's co-workers from the housing department, people who had worked alongside her to help others find shelter, stepped in to help her own children find a new home. Bronx relatives organized fundraisers. Neighbors left flowers and letters by the curb, and strangers across New Jersey donated what they could. The community's grief became a movement of care. Friends described her as someone who never turned away anyone in need, and now it was their turn to return that kindness. Yet beneath the unity was deep sorrow, a shared understanding that 2 young lives had been permanently altered by one man's rage. They lost their mother and their sense of home in the same night. And no donation, no headline, no sentence can fill that silence. But amid the grief, there was also resilience. Her family refused to let her story fade into statistics. They spoke her name at vigils, posted her photos online, and reminded everyone of who she was beyond her final moments. A joyful, compassionate woman who dedicated her life to giving others a place to belong. Her laughter still lives in those memories. The way she'd sing along to old R&B songs while cleaning. The way her smile could break tension in any room. For her children, those memories have become both comfort and burden. The reminder of what love looks like and what it should never become. As the court process moves slowly through motions and hearings, the family's fight continues. Not just for justice, but for awareness. Because what happened to Shalomar isn't rare. Across the country, data shows that women are most at risk of being killed when they try to leave an abusive partner. It's a pattern written in heartbreak and repetition. A cycle that claims thousands of lives every year. Shalomar Brown built homes for strangers, raised her children with hope, and tried to reclaim her own peace. But one man's refusal to let go stole that chance. Her story now lives on as both a warning and a remembrance. A call to look closer, to listen when someone says they're scared, to take every threat seriously, and to remember the names behind the numbers. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. If you haven't already, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. We upload new true crime content daily, covering cases you know and many you don't. Stick with us as we bring you more stories that deserve to be heard. See you in the next video.